Are you ready to be great? Stop letting self-doubt, insecurity, and fear prevent you from building your business. This morning, wake up to success. Here's John Preston.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Wake Up to Success. Today, we're going to continue our discussion on deep work. Now, this is a book by Cal Newport, but it's also really what is required for us to achieve success. It's really more about a deep focus that allows us to spend more of our attention and more of our time on the things that are really important for us to grow our business and grow our sales and really just become the person with the success that we want to be. Now, I compare this to cramming for a test. You know, when you're in college and you've put off studying for a test as long as you possibly can, the test is in 3 hours and you know none of the material. We're all able to focus and block out those distractions. And for 3 hours, just concentrate on learning that material. That is that deep focus, that deep work level, that if we can master that in our professional lives, we will move our businesses forward and get to where we want to be. So the first thing we have to do is master the art of avoiding distractions. We live in such a world of busyness that there's always people and things and apps and beeps and all sorts of things trying to pull our attention away from doing the things we want to do. So how do you avoid those distractions? So the first thing I'm going to do is talk about some of the three major ones that we often have. The first one's checking email. It's about, how often do we check our email? Many of us will check our email literally 5, 6, 7, 8 times an hour because we're terrified that we might miss something important. Well, that's part of the reason. The other thing is it allows us to feel busy, and it's very shallow work. Doesn't require a lot of thought to check our email. But if we're really going to reach this deep state of execution, this deep work state, then we really need to learn to control that. So the first thing I would suggest is you set up 3 times during the day, one in the morning, one at noon, and one before you quit for the day when you check your emails. The odds of anything being so urgent in that time frame that you have to respond another time than that are pretty slim. I mean, probably less than 1%, significantly less than 1% of the emails we get fall into that category. And in the next episode, we'll talk about how to handle those just for that rare occasion. But one thing we've got to do is we've just got to limit the amount of time we do that. So that's the first thing for limiting your email. Stop checking it. I would suggest closing out your email every time you check it. Once you finish checking it, close it out because you're going to be much less likely to go out of the trouble to open it again 8 or 9 times an hour, where if it's pulled up, you can easily check it for that. So that's the first thing I would suggest to avoid that distraction of the emails, because that stops you from getting into this state of deep work. The second big distraction we all deal with is social media. Now, I will tell you right now, if you are truly dedicated to the level of success that you want to have and dedicated to making your dreams come true, then I would recommend you get rid of social media. Unless, of course, it has something directly to do with your business, and then you need to find ways to control it and regulate the time. But social media, as we all know, can become a tremendous time suck. So the first thing on that front I would suggest you do to avoid that distraction is to get rid of the notifications, because the notifications that you have on your phone or your smartwatch or your computer top are all designed for one thing and one thing only: to pull you back into that social media world. Social media sites make money the more you're engaged and the more time you spend on their site. So those notifications are designed with that purpose in mind, to distract you from doing other things you need to do to be successful. So get rid of the notifications. The next thing I would encourage you to do is take the apps off your phone, because a lot of people will use their phone for notifications and for alarms and reminders and those kind of things throughout the day. And if when you pick up your phone, that app is staring you in the face, it's very easy to allow yourself to be distracted. And remember, temptation walks through doors left intentionally open. And when you've got that app on your phone right there in front of you throughout the course of the day, you're leaving the door wide open for that temptation. So if you're serious about levels of success, consider taking those apps off your phone. The third thing I would encourage you to do is limit the amount of time you spend on the internet that's not related directly to your business. I know when COVID first started, one of the things I found myself doing every day was going to the World Health Organization website and just looking to see where the increases were, who was showing an increase, which state, which country, where the disease was progressing. And it had nothing to do with what I was trying to accomplish as a professional business owner. But I got sucked into it every single day. And do you know why I got sucked into it every single day? Because I had a bookmark to it saved across my bookmark bar across the top. I would just look up and I would see that World Health Organization little favicon, and I would click on it, and lo and behold, 15 minutes of my day's gone. So in the internet world, get rid of those bookmarks that aren't directly related to growing your business. Now, I will tell you, what I'm describing here is not something that everyone would do. It's not something even everyone would want to do. What we're describing are the distractions that stop you from your optimum productivity. Because if you're serious about accomplishing your dreams, if you're serious about achieving a level of success that those around you aren't capable of achieving, then these are the type of things you do to help you get there. If you can avoid the temptation, it is much, much easier to avoid the distractions and stay focused on the things you need to do and enter this state of deep work that's required for us to get to where we want to be at the fastest rate we can get there. This state of deep work allows us to concentrate our attention and our efforts on the things most important for us achieving our goals.